How to master the SPY overnight swing trade. People get into trading for many reasons. Let me know what your reason is in the comments below. My reason was I noticed the overnight gap, and you very well may have noticed it too. You notice that the market closes at one point and opens up either up or down. So the question was, well, is there a way to profit off that? Obviously, I wasn't the first person to notice this. It's the overnight gap. Traders see it every morning. The market's either up, an up gap, or down, a down gap from the night before. Of course, that brings you to the question, what if? What if we could figure out how to profit from this? What if we could master the overnight swing trade? Many traders are not committed to a specific stock. At the end of the trading day, they scan for specific signals, for maybe an overbought or oversold stock, or possibly a trend, or maybe a stock that had good news or bad news. There are many different ways to look for a trade overnight. I remember early when I first started trading, well over 20 years ago, hearing about a trader who just traded one stock, and that was IBM. And he made a living just trading IBM. Not necessarily an overnight swing trade, but maybe longer swing trades over a few days. He got to know IBM really well. He knew how it reacted during different times of the year, different situations. So as he got to know that stock well, he had a higher probability of success because he wasn't surprised when certain things happened. He probably predicted them. And that's why I like to trade the SPY and quite often the QQQ and IWM. Different times of the year, different market situations, I get to know these stocks. I know how they react in different situations. For example, during the summer, I'll often trade the QQQ when the volatility is low. However, when volatility goes up, I may switch over to the SPY. And there's some situations I find that the IWM is the right choice. So this leads me to a story that I think will help you understand what I'm talking about. There's this old jade master, a master of understanding the qualities of jade, understanding how to work with jade. He understood everything. He created beautiful work out of jade. And he was going to take on an apprentice. And there's a young man who really appreciated his work, understood that this man was a true master, and he wanted to learn underneath him. And so he had the opportunity to learn. And on the first day, he figured he's going to learn so much from this great master. And he was excited, and he went up to him and said, "What are we going to learn today? What do I need to do? How can I help you? And what's the process of me becoming a great master like you?" And the master took a piece of jade and put it in his hand, closed his hand, and said, "Just hold this." And he held it throughout the day. And then the end of the day, the master came back and said, "Okay, give me the piece of jade." He took the piece of jade from him. And then the next morning, the same thing happened. He got a piece of jade, put it in his hand, and he just held it all day long. He's obviously getting frustrated after 5, 6, 2, 3, 4 weeks, 6 weeks pass, the same thing every single day. Here's the jade, hold the jade, and give it back. On the 8th week, the master handed him a piece of jade, and the young man looked at him and said, "This is not jade." The point is, just through experience, over and over and over again, you'll start to know things immediately. You'll see what is happening. You'll get to know your stock, whether it's Apple, whether it's SPY, whether it's QQQ. Get to know it well. And even if your signals, get to know your signals well like that. Don't have a million signals, have 1 or 2 signals that you trust and build off of that. And that's how you will master your overnight swing trade. As many of you know, when I ask myself the question, what if I could develop a high probability system to let me know if the market's going to open up or down. And I started to apply some ideas when I was trying to figure out a different problem to developing algorithms that help me measure what I refer to as the pressure of the market at the end of the trading day, which often correlates to how the market might open the next day. Now, obviously, I've run into a number of roadblocks. I've had algorithms do really well in the beginning and then slowly fade over time. I've had some just outright break. But I learn so much each time, and each incarnation of my algorithms get more and more consistent. And I understand what's breaking or what to avoid or what to look out for so I can make adjustments before, again, they completely break. But I have an advantage, because I can work on them. But you may not have that same advantage. You may have different indicators that you're looking at. But it doesn't matter what indicator you're looking at. Through experience, whether you see the SPY tomorrow indicator saying up, but based on experience and maybe how some other indicators are moving right now, you have a pretty good feeling the market's going down. There's nothing wrong with going against your indicators based on your experience, but you do need to have a good reason why. However, I do recommend that you don't chase indicators going from one indicator to another indicator to another indicator again, or another stock to another stock to another stock. You want to get really good and understand what works and what does not, and follow your indicators until they prove that they can't be trusted. And then you can test other indicators. So there's nothing wrong with testing different indicators while you're using a specific indicator. And if you notice that another indicator is doing a little bit better than the one that you're using, then you can gradually shift over. In other words, don't make drastic choices. Don't make emotional choices. Don't just move from one thing to another, just hoping it's all going to fix itself. Have a good reason for the actions you take in the market. To help you master overnight swing trading, I recommend that you start with very small positions and maybe even just paper trade in the beginning. Test out your ideas on paper and then start with very small positions and then work your way up into larger positions as your risk tolerance and your confidence develops over time. Having a hedge in your trade is a really good idea because overnight, anything could happen. News, earnings could change the mood of the market. And if the market completely flips around and goes the other direction, you know you're not going to lose all of your money. You're going to minimize your loss. And if the market goes really far, you could actually make gains, although your indicator was wrong. And that's why I've developed the various ratios such as 2-to-1, the SPY-TA, or 3-to-1, the SPY-TQ, and other variations depending on your risk tolerance. There is no perfect system, but whatever system you use, give it time. Whether it's the SPY tomorrow system or another system that you picked up from someone on YouTube or a podcast, don't just try things once and decide, oh, that doesn't work. That's not the way it works. You have to learn how to do it well. You have to take the foundational information and then apply it to an ever-changing market. I prefer overnight swing trading because it helps to take away the trader's greatest enemy, and that is their personal emotions, greed and fear. Yes, you do need to sell and get out of your position in the morning, and yes, greed and fear and emotion can play a role there. However, over time, you'll learn how to get out of your trades, whether your indicator was in your favor, whether the market went the direction you thought it would or not, especially if you have a SPY-T trade in which you have both calls and puts. You can learn how to get out of those trades to minimize your losses and maximize your gain. And another reason why I like overnight swing trades is that I'm not staring at the screen all day or all morning trying to capture little moves and letting my emotion get a hold of me. It's one trade, and those moves quite often are a lot bigger and more substantial. To master overnight swing trading, it's going to take practice, and it's going to take time. Remember, we generally only have one trade overnight per day, so 5 trades a week, you need to practice and you need time to master it. That's one reason why I recommend that you keep a journal. Keep track of what is working, because you may not remember everything that was happening last quarter, last year, 2 weeks ago. But if you have a journal in different situations coming up, you can take a look and see what happened last time. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? How have I gotten to be a better trader? I'll see you in the next video.